Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Griffin and I'm a filmmaker based out of Orange County, California. And today we're at King of the Hammers 2025 and we're shooting all week for Ford. So the video though I want to talk about is the cameras we're shooting on. So we're shooting on the Canon C400 and the Canon C80. So Canon sent these out to me to try out and basically do a little bit of a comparison between these two camera packages. So what I wanted to show you was kind of like walk you through the camera builds that we have right now. They're both basically stock builds, but I want to show you kind of how we have it rigged out with time code and stuff like that. And then talk about a little bit of the pros and cons that I see in like a real life workflow situation. Quick backstory of what we're shooting. We're shooting a documentary on Ford's off-road drivers. So it's we got contracted for a 3-episode mini doc series. Good morning and
welcome if you're just joining us. This is the 2025 King of the Hammers powered by Ford Performance.
So a little bit about the camera I'm primarily shooting on. We'll come over here and we'll change views. All right, so we're out here with the guys. We got Tucker, we got Adrian, and behind the camera is my man Levi.
What's up?
So anyways, talking about the camera, this is the Canon C400. I wanted to basically have the ultimate run and gun dock style build. And for me, you can't get a better setup than the Canon C400 with the little V-mount plate and the 24-105 2.8. So it's funny, like I know everybody online loves to talk about like specs, dynamic range. If I put it like 5 stops underexposed, like what does the noise pattern look like? But in real life, like nobody's ever exposing like that. Or if you are, like you're not actually getting hired ever and you're probably just in your basement making camera tests. So anyways, why I like this camera. For me, the positions I like to shoot in, I like a V-mount because I can butt this into my chest like this, or I can kind of put it right here. And the screen is offset. So with the screen being offset like this, it allows me to have 1, 2, 3 points of contact. And if I really want, if I'm at a long focal length, I can put my forehead here and I get a 4th point of contact. So these are the reasons that I actually really love this. I also love the weight too. You can go underslung and it feels, if you can balance your camera with 1 finger, you know it's balanced. And the best part about this, I'll show you, stay right there. Best part about this is you can also use the Canon RF 100 to 500. I'll be honest, I had a hard time switching over to the RF lenses because I have a full kit of EF lenses. I have like 13 of them. And the RF lenses, they're really cool, but this one really intrigued me because with 2 lenses, 24-105 2.8 and 100 to 500, I have 24 to 500. So when we're capturing a race and there's like a lot of dynamic, things going on, we're filming in the pits, we're filming the crew, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're filming a guy out on a track who's a couple hundred yards away. You just literally zoom this guy in and it's like, look at that, still perfectly balanced with 1 finger. So for me, that's actually my main consideration. The other thing is when we're filming interviews in the pits, I like to have it basically butted up like this. I'll just slot this against my shoulder and then the monitor's in the perfect spot. These are literally the reasons why I chose this over the C80. However, let's get into the C80 and I'll show you some of the pros with that one. So when it comes to the C80, you guys know I've done a million videos on the C70 and I'm a huge fan of that camera. So I really love the C80. I've already done like 1 or 2 videos on this. It's basically everything that we wanted the C70 to be, full frame and have an SDI port. And it's a perfect little package. Now, some people online will like to talk about like dynamic range or like, can you really see a difference? I'll be honest, if you expose even halfway decent, they all look the same. There's not a gigantic difference. The biggest difference for me is with 6K, this camera has something cool. Well, the C400 does too. With having a 6K sensor, you can punch into a Super 35 crop mode. So essentially, let's say you have like a 24-105 on, you can make it basically 35 to 150. I know it's not exactly the same, but effective focal length. And this is still a really, really nice camera package. Shoots 4K 120. And I will say with both these cameras, the C80 and the C400, there's a gigantic autofocus improvement in the real world. So I've spent literally more than 1,000 hours on the C70, probably way more than that if you count between the two of them I have. But the C80, I can tell you, it's just like really snappy, the autofocus, and it grabs onto the subject much better, kind of like how the mirrorless Leica cameras have. But this is our setup for today, just running a little tiny DD TC1 timecode box. I absolutely hate this top handle. I think this is garbage. So that's like, when it comes to the C80, the pros are it's much lighter, and this is a really nice little, we kind of run the mic underslung, so you can still put the monitor. But this is also a nicely balanced package, and the BPA 60N, but you can also take regular BPA 60s. So this is a really nice package too, and this is great for all day shooting. So remember what I was talking about shooting positions and why I chose the other one versus this one? It's the same camera, and it's like, okay, is it worth $2,500 more? For me, without question, it would be. This is an excellent B cam. And if I'm operating handheld, which I do a lot of the time for the dock stuff we do, I would prefer that setup, because if I'm shooting, remember the same shooting positions we talked about? Off the shoulder for 3 points of contact, look where my screen is. And then this screen is like up here, and you get like this weird thing where you gotta look at your screen like that. It's kind of weird. And then the underslung is great with an external monitor, but if you don't run an external monitor, then your underslung is back here and you can't brace against your body. So that's something I don't like. And then the other one is shooting from the hip. So like you can kind of tuck it in here. Now again, if you have the monitor, you can still have a great position here. The one big downside with this though, this is not going to be a touch focus monitor. So Canon or third-party manufacturers, please, 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 I am begging you, you will sell thousands or millions of dollars, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars of monitors if you can make something that works well. Now I know they have the Atomos touch thing, but it doesn't really work like you'd want it to. I would love to see from Canon something like how Red has, like an integration with Small HD. Like Small HD makes the best monitors, even though they're pricey, it just works. And especially with all the touch focus and menu capabilities built right in. Just like Red has, it's a perfect UI. So if there's a way we can get that, that for me would make this camera setup really attractive. But they're both great. I love using them both. I can tell you guys that there's so much concern about the image quality. The image quality is incredible. Like I'm telling you, we're shooting for Ford this whole week. Guess what? Last year we shot on C70s for Ford. This year we're shooting on C80s. Nobody knows the difference. What they actually care about is how fast you can edit, the content you capture, and your general attitude and professionalism when you work with them. But this camera package, again, this is a really fun package. I like this. Now I can tell you, as the day gets longer, the week, going into the later in the week, your back starts hurting a little bit. I'm getting old and stuff. But that's kind of when I'd probably grab the C80. And what I would actually do is probably go for an even smaller lens. You can still adapt like an EF lens, maybe an EF 24-70, just with an adapter, and you're gonna save yourself like another pound. And then you've got a really light camera package. So again, these are the considerations that I have in the real world, shooting with my team, shooting with my guys, my friends here. But anyways, I'll walk you around kind of quickly and just give you a little bit of our setup. You can go shoot this way if it's not unbelievably nuked. So for this week, we're renting a big old RV, got the boys just hanging out, doing a bunch of cooking here. We do have the Bronco we're running. So we were gonna run the motor crane on the Bronco this week, but we actually got booked for a second job. So we're shooting, Levi behind the camera is our Bravo unit. So he's going out B team and he's shooting, we have a second unit out there in LA for 2 days. That'll be on a motor crane shoot. They're taking the Bronco. And then we got the Sprinter. I wanna do a full tour so you can can you get a full shot? I wanna do a full tour of the Sprinter, and I'll probably do it this week. I will do it this week. But Sprinter is fully dialed, off-road suspension, wheels, tires, solar panels on the roof. We got Starlink. If you come over here, we got 2 fridges. This is kind of like my little edit station where you can edit right here. It's an amazing setup. And then up top, if you want to just kind of crash zoom, we got a whole charge kit up there. Happy to show you guys this whole setup. And then in here, we got a queen size bed, memory foam mattress, swivel seats. So I'll give you guys the real tour. If any of you guys are interested, let me know in the comments, because I think it'd be fun to show a tour of that. I had a different van before, and there's a fun story behind that I'd love to tell. But anyways, guys, look, I know this was maybe a little bit of a unique camera comparison, but for me, it's like, I really want to focus on what do cameras actually do in the real world. I'll put a little bit of image quality in here as well, just so you can see the two. But between the C80 and the C400, it's the same. It's literally the same image quality, with the only caveat being, if you shoot in RAW in 60 frames, you can do it full frame on this camera, on the C400. If you want full sensor at 60 frames with the C80 in RAW, then you would have to use an external recorder. But you can still do full sensor 30 frames or 24, or you could go to full frame 4K instead of RAW, but it'd be in the XFAVC. So in the real world, we're not using RAW on a documentary shoot, even for a big client like Ford. We're just not. It's too much data. I don't want to do post-processing, noise reduction. The XFAVC is like perfect for me. So guys, I'd love to know from you, what are your thoughts on these cameras? What do you like about them? What do you not like about them? Do you think Canon hit it on the head with these cameras like I do, or do you kind of feel otherwise? Let me know in the comments. We'll make it a little discussion, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.
My girlfriend